Subscribe to WFO Radio on iTunes. Never miss a show. And don't forget to write a review. WFO.
We are starting off the show, though, a little bit different. Alan Reinhart is right around the corner, but we are going to check in with the 8-time Mellow Yellow Top Fuel World Champion, Tony Schumacher, right at the start. We want to put to bed some rumors and talk about some stuff going on revolving around Tony. Tony, welcome to the show. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. It's great to be back on the show.
Yeah, and you know what, though, Tony? Like, I feel bad. I feel badly because going back over the course of the 10 years of WFO Radio podcast, especially at the very beginning, like you were on, almost every week, winning races, dominating the category. And I always feel like, man, I want to have Tony on, but I want you to be on when you win. And so I don't know. And right. Like, you don't just need pub, man. You want to talk about wins. That's Tony Schumacher in my mind. And here we are. We're talking about something a little less than optimal, but something that needs to be discussed because there are so many people out there taking this story and running in the wrong direction. So why don't you just tell us what's happening?
Well, first of all, I think, the radio show and the stories in general, man, aren't just about wins. They're about life, and people's ups and downs. And that's just the way it goes. It's part of the gig. Racing is a very difficult sport. And we were incredibly fortunate to have the best sponsor known to mankind for 19 years, a great support group, great friends. And, when they announced last year that they were going to try a different way to recruit, we were a little short on time, but we had I think what I've always said is it is not a problem. It's a situation because we're surrounded by the best at doing their job. We were immediately out there looking for sponsors. And to be honest, we have several things in the works. The one that we were expecting to unveil, it's just not signed yet. It's not that it's over. It's not that it's dead. It just, they didn't get it done. Companies are expected to, and we expect them to do the due diligence and to go out and to seek out all the information that they need, and that's what they're in the middle of doing, and they're doing a great job. So my dad decided at the end that it wasn't fair without a signed deal to keep the guys wondering and waiting, and to start the season off with a black car, just sitting there ready, without a name on it. So he decided yesterday that we were going to park it for Pomona. And for me, I thought, well, we should just run it. And then, you think about it, you go, wait a minute, my dad's done everything to carry us for months with no money coming in on that side, and I respect what he's done. He's done a great job keeping the faith, and he needs that contract signed, to be honest. He just needs to get it done. He's working hard. He's working with the right people. It's through legal. It's really just pending. And the company itself isn't worried about Pomona. They're worried about getting it right. It's a 5-year deal. It's a large deal, and they're just making sure the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed. So I have all the faith in the world that we'll put it all together and get it done and be back out racing soon.
See, so great to hear that. Everyone's initial response, as much as you want to try to fight it, is usually emotional, right? Like disappointment. Oh, no, Tony, that kind of deal. And I've seen your fans, and you've got a legion of them, the most worried that they've been, like, are you retiring? Like kind of thing. That's got to be, it's got to be a bummer to have to answer the question, but also to see the response that has happened instantly, like a flare-up of fans freak out about this thing.
Yeah, on both sides. You get the guys that go, who cares? The majority has been so positive and uplifting, and we appreciate it. And to be honest, we're in Vegas right now. We came down, saw the George Strait, staying at the Cosmo with our friend KJ. And
what's up, KJ?
Yeah, KJ, she's awesome, man. She takes great care of us, her and Kelly. And, we saw the Super Bowl there. It was just it was one of the things. I'm waiting on this contract, and we were in real good spirits. And then I thought, okay, maybe I just don't go to Pomona now. Maybe it's time I don't go and let it be known that we got this issue. And if there is a company or a sponsor out there looking, but then I thought, you know what, the fans, they're going to see us whether I have a car or not. And it's my obligation and my duty and to pay back the fans that have been just so great for so long. So I'll be there all 3 days. I'll be probably hanging out with Antron and Leah in their pits and pulling for my teammates in our funny cars and hoping those guys pull off some great wins. And, it is what it is. It's not the greatest position to be in, but hey, I got an awesome family. I got an amazing girlfriend. I got an amazing kids. They're healthy. They're safe. My dad's gone through so much with his cancer over the last couple of years. There's way bigger issues out there. And I'm always have keep things in line. Man, my family's safe. My family's healthy. My sons are incredibly good in high school. One's going off trying to get into Texas A&M. My daughter's a straight A student. I mean, what more can you ask for? I mean, this is a situation. We're going to deal with it one step at a time, and we're going to put it together. But I'm sure not going to miss the races. I'm going to go out there and I'm going to watch. I'm going to support my guys and girls. And hey, man, see the fans.
I love your perspective. And, I think back Don the Snake sat out a year. I think the wisdom of your dad, he has been very successful for a reason. And he knows, to go run the car and just run the car. That, to me, it sends a signal. Like, oh, man, these guys are willing to run the car without sponsorship, so maybe we shouldn't sponsor, or maybe we shouldn't pay as much. I don't know. Maybe I don't know what the heck I'm talking about, but I know Don Schumacher does.
I think you were correct, and, we've talked about all those options. If you show up and just put the car on the track, it is no longer a situation that needs to get dealt with. It's, oh, man, they'll just carry the weight. My dad's a businessman. He suffered through this decision. He was incredibly heartbroken to have to tell the guys we're sitting out. Those guys worked so hard to make the car right. And I got to tell you, I got the most loyal guys in the world. I mean, they knew the Army was gone. They stayed on board. They worked all winter long, had the perfect car sitting there. I've talked to each one of them, and we're heartbroken that this is happening, but we understand this is a big, big deal. It has to be right. It has to be handled with by lawyers, and we're not asking for $50,000. We want to run a car. We want to run a car correctly, safely, and for a championship every time we go down the racetrack, which includes testing and hospitality. And our business to business is what makes it work. I mean, any sponsor that steps into our ring right there is now sitting at the table with the head of Napa and the head of Matco Tools and the head of Mopar and Pennzoil and Shell Oil and all those companies, and they know that. So they're looking at each one of those things. And, I wish I could say who the deal is, but I can't. I just got to sit back and let them do their job and hope they get it done quickly.
But you sound optimistic, and because you are optimistic, I am optimistic and excited. I have no doubt you're going to, make the countdown. You can miss several races and still make the countdown. And more importantly, it'll be for the good of the sport. I really appreciate you coming on WFO Radio here right at the start of our podcast to just, I don't know, calm the fans, like make people understand this is, it's not an overarching sign of impending doom for the sport in general. This is corporate America working.
It is, and the companies, some of them have never been here before, so there is an incredible amount of interest. And I've been reading all that stuff too, and I go, oh yeah, big money's killed the sport. Well, big money's what's necessary to run the cars right now, and it just is, and we didn't build it that way. And people are like, oh, DSR and John Force, you guys, it's too expensive. Look, man, Terry McMillan, he went out and won Indy last year. The cars are racing closer and better than they ever have been. Big Money didn't win Indy. Terry McMillan did, and it was a great job, and it was fun. I stood in the start line with Summer, and we watched that happen. We watched that car go down the racetrack without the big budget and win the biggest race of the year. So, fans, chill out. It's all good. We love you. We love that you come out. We love that you support us. We've had many sellout crowds. I was reading, and they're like, oh, the fan count's down. I don't see that. I sit in that car, and I look up. I've seen some incredible crowds. I've sat through many, many sellout shows. So it all has to work. But that being said, things are changing. We got Fox on board. People stare at their phones. We got to adapt to some of that stuff. It's all in the works. It has to be done. People tend to watch more sporting events staring at their phone than they do staring at the event, which is right in front of them. It's kind of a changing world, and the sport itself and the teams are adapting to it with the social media and all those things. And well, we're just catching up. I used to hate social media, hated Facebook, hated all that stuff. I didn't believe that. When I got done racing, because I give every bit of energy I have at the races. I stand out at the ropes all day. And when I'm off, man, sometimes I just like to go fishing. And I don't want to tell everyone I'm going fishing. But it has come to my attention from all the sponsors that we're talking to that it is an important thing. Fans want to see you out there. And so we're adapting. We're hiring the right people to make the social media part good, so the fans get to see what we're doing all the time. And, it's funny, but I thought, man, I get my time off. But when you sign up for a job like this, you don't. You are turning it over and saying, look, I'm going to earn a living in a sport, and I'm going to earn a living, and because that I have to be willing to sacrifice some of my freedoms. And I get it. So we're moving forward with it, and it's going to be great. It's going to be a great sport this year. Hoping to be back in Phoenix running the car.
I think it's great, Tony. I appreciate you coming on the show. I got to say, though, man, I wanted to, I want to see you without the beard, no beard. The beard
I'm going to be there. I'm coming.
You look 10 years younger without the beard.
Yeah, I know. That's my dad said, too. That's why I told you, he said, come on, we got to go out and get sponsors. He said, nobody wants an old man driving. I said, I'm like almost the youngest.
You do. You look like, I'm serious. It's amazing. I think, hopefully, this is what I want. You ready?
I look like a baby.
The trend, listen, I've been trying to say this for years, and maybe now you're like the first block to start moving, the first domino to fall, the end of the beard era. It's got to be over at some point, right? We did it once in the early 1900s. Everybody had beards, and they realized, wait, well, let's get away from it. This is it. You're the first domino, Tony. No more beards. The beards are over.
I do not want to lead that trend. I love my beard, man. I really did. It made me feel good, I know it made me look older, but, I felt tough, and it was what made me happy. And again, sometimes you just got to adapt to what the other people want. And if we're out looking for sponsors and they want clean cut, well, so be it. We'll see. Maybe the sponsor signs up and goes, "You got to grow that thing back. You look tough." Let's just hope.
There you go. Tony, thank you so much for coming on WFO Radio. Next time, it will be after a victory. But from what I just gathered, you're okay to come down anytime, and you always have been, and I appreciate that. Big supporter of WFO. We're in our 10th season, and I'm looking at the archive the other day thinking, man, like you coming on the show in our early days when we had few listeners, you helped us survive, man. You helped us get through, and I appreciate that. And just apart from everything, I want you to know that. It's like, thank you.
Well, I appreciate that. Anytime.
All right. Thanks, Tony. We'll see you out there this weekend at Pomona. I have a lot of time to hang out, but then we'll get back to it as soon as possible. Thank you so much.
Sounds great. See you there.
Tony Schumacher with us here on WFO Radio, the 8-time champ, 83 wins, and, class act. And I'm going to just listen to him and accept it. And I recommend that everybody out there do the same thing. Problem with drag racing is that the rumor mill, problem with everything, is that the rumor mill just goes out of control. And watching the Facebook page, honestly, I wasn't thinking of calling Tony on the show because I was going to just let them sort all of that stuff out. But then when I saw the rumor mill just going out of control, he's retiring, this is the thing, what does it mean? It means this, it means that. No, chill. Everybody needs to calm down and just watch and let things play out. And who knows, they could be back on track soon. And then all of that panic that everybody has was for nothing. So just chill. And thanks to Tony for coming on the show at the very, very start of the show, which has great sponsors like Rodak's Coffee and Grills.com. Marvin Rodak, our great friend, who has the Schumacher Champion blend of coffee designed specifically for Tony Schumacher that you can get. How about that? Marvin Rodak.
This is WFO Radio.